Nice to have you join us. The governor of Kaduna State, Nasiru El-Rufai, has had it with a number of staff he has to pay salary. He has now decided to disengage workers in the states, saying government does not exist simply to pay salaries. The governor claims that the move is as a result of the dwindling financial resources, but the Nigerian Labour Congress is not having it, describing the action as arbitrary, cruel, and a violation of the fundamental and trade union rights of Kaduna State workers. The president of the NLC, Ayuba Waba, has called for a reversal of the decision. Babajide, yesterday we started with how bleak the situation looks, and that what the governor of Edo State said, that the federal government resorted to print 60 billion naira for last allocation. Now, it will definitely affect states, because states might not be able to pay their workers, and Nasiru El-Rufai, knowing that he's a very blunt person, so he has decided to start the process of right-sizing or downsizing in Kaduna State. And I know NLC, we have a date with the NLC officials with this, but the reality on ground is that the country is broke and it will affect the states.
Yes, I think that if we love ourselves, we must first admit that we are facing a fiscal crisis. To continue to behave like all is well is not going to do anybody any good. We've got to admit that we have a fiscal crisis on our hands, and that there's a need to address that problem in the best way possible. Now, if states are carrying so much burden, there's a need to shed some of the weight that you are carrying. I always say that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu did it here in Lagos, and he did it during his first term. That's the remarkable
to consideration
that he could lose the election. Yes, he did it during his first term. He right-sized the labor force, and today Lagos has the most responsive civil service in the whole of Nigeria. You see the quality of the civil service by even the work that gets done in Lagos, and the kind of ideas.
Don't overbloated.
The ideas that the governor has to work with. He will always find the right people, because the civil service in Lagos is a fantastic one. Kudos to those who made that to happen. You can't keep, look at Kaduna, for example. Some of the local governments, El-Rufai discovered that they could not even pay the salaries of their staff without the government assisting. People, we can embark on emotional arguments all day long.
And the man is saying that government does not exist just to pay salaries.
Yes, meaning that government does not exist for just about 100,000 people and their dependents.
Maybe less than 5% of the population of the state.
Because, okay, Kaduna, the population of Kaduna is in the region of 10 million. If there are just about, if you spend 96%, because it got to, there's a particular month out of the 6 months that the sampling that they did, out of those 6 months, there was a particular month when Kaduna spent 96% of what came from FAC on wages and salaries. The lowest in terms of percentage was 84. I don't think that I don't think that's a sustainable.
Will you find money to build health centers, build roads?
People have argued that, Shebi El-Rufai claimed that they get so much IGR, this and that. What is the IGR of Kaduna State? In a whole year, the IGR of Kaduna State came to 50.46 or 50.2 billion. 50.2 billion in a whole year. That's the IGR of Kaduna State. So on the average, that's like 4 billion a month. But the thing about IGR, the treacherous thing about IGR is that some months will be dry. That monthly average that you are using, you may not even get more than 1 or 2 billion. What people fail to realize is that we have police. Federal government pays salaries of police, but almost every other thing the states have to do. They must provide the vans, they must provide logistics. States are spending so much money on security.
Petrol.
Now, so if you spend 96% of what came from FAC on salaries, you are now left with 4 billion. 4%. Let's even say 4 billion. You are left with 4 billion and about 300 or 200 and something million. The balance of the FAC. Now, out of that, you have to take care of hospitals. You have to take care of refuse evacuation. Many people don't know that refuse evacuation is one of the most capital-intensive things. Take care of refuse evacuation, take care of security. So, and then some standing orders and other. A lot of these states have debts. They have debts to pay. So, what are you going? Even that 4 billion that you think El-Rufai has done so much in terms of IGR, you will find that even that 4 billion, what you have to do may not. That 4 billion may also not be enough. So what do you then do? You have to then ask yourself. You take the big decisions. Oshomole was going to do it in Edo State. In fact, he had done it. But elections were approaching, and they were telling him, no, you cannot afford to do it. If you do it, APC will lose election. The same people that Oshomole had told to go, including blind teachers, he was forced to bring them back. Thank God, Asiwaju was not forced to bring back the people that he let go here. That is what is called strong leadership. Great leaders triumph, they thrive in moments of adversity. That's what we are seeing.
Sam, when you look at this whole equation and the way we are going, you will know that, look, it's not just sustainable. The staff salary, and one of the points Jide has made is that when you say you want to use 96% of what you have on ground to just pay like 100,000 people, and that might not represent 5 or 10% of the entire state.
That's correct, Tayo. We must admit that the fundamentals don't look good at all, and we need to take it, from the source. The money that accrues to the federal government has increasingly, diminished, and so what the states get is also a reflection of what is accruing to, the federal government. So yes, the fundamentals don't look good at all. And if you look at the facts as reeled out by Governor El-Rufai, you would want to agree with him that indeed what he had decided to do, appears to represent, the last option, But then I also have a concern, and my concern is the process leading up to, what appears to be a frustration of the objective conditions that the governor has to deal with. And what are these? What are these issues? That bother me. The governor says he doesn't need more than 50 persons in each local government, 23 local governments in the state. If you are 50, you have to go. If you are on level 14, you have to go, whether it's a case of redundancy or not. If you are on level 1 to 6, you'll be casualized. And I think that is the area that bothers me a lot. It will seem, on the surface, that the governor may have acted, arbitrarily, and that is where, the labor union is very worried. Yes, at times like this, very strong leaders will have to bite the bullet, take very tough decisions. But in doing so, you also want to be sure that you are acting within the confines of the law. And that is very important. We're not in a banana republic, okay? Yes, you have to look at what you need to do to ensure that the money that comes, to the state is managed in such a manner that you don't spend 97% of it on personnel costs. So it is important that even as the governor takes these very painful steps, he wants to ensure that he is acting within the confines of the labor law and the civil service procedures. And that for me is, is fundamental. Yes, I agree that the fundamentals don't look very good. The money accrual is nothing to write home about. But ultimately, even as these decisions are taken, even as you want to sack 4,000 workers in the local government areas, you also want to look at the executive. You're not just, you just don't want to deal with those in local government areas. You're looking at the number of persons who are working with the governor himself. Is he also considering shedding the load at that level? Is he also thinking of managing costs, cutting costs? Agreed, El-Rufai as a technocrat is one who has a very high pedigree when it comes to taking very tough decisions. And we want to see him, act in similar manner, not just at local government level, but also within the executive. And in doing so, let us be mindful of the fact that we have to act within the law. If you want to treat this category of staff as being redundant, then let the Labor Act prevail and let the civil service rule also be taken into consideration.
Okay. The old minimum wage has already been overtaken by inflation and all that. So it's a choice.
Double-digit inflation.
Governor El-Rufai was the first governor to pay the new minimum wage. That's on record. Since 2019, he was the first to pay the minimum wage. Now, he does not want to go back to say, okay, let us go back to what people used to earn. I believe that strong leadership is one of the big problems that we have. We lack it.
To be able to take decisions.
Take the big decision. Even the president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, it was one of the first things that he did. He cut wages, including his own. Why is it so difficult? We are saying that, look, the excess weight that the states are carrying, they can't continue to carry this excess weight. They can't. Because we are all relying on petrol, dollar, this and that. But everyone can see now that the world is even moving away from crude oil.
Honestly.
Fossil fuel is becoming yesterday's thing. And before our eyes, if we don't begin to look inwards.
Diversification has started.
Look, the way we run our states, I'm saying that nobody, a Dangote, for example, as rich as he is, he will not be so generous as to run his private enterprise the way we are running states. That's why we have this situation. The problem that we are facing, we want a situation in which we will be taking loans to pay salaries. If we get to that situation,
that's the end.
The thing to do is let labor be aware that this is inevitable. Call labor, let them make input.
I have Kesandu from Imo State calling us. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, everybody. You see, while I appreciate that, yes, we have some workers who are not actually doing anything but wants to earn salary every month. But who is to be blamed? You see that most of our governors, the major challenge we're having is that some of them do not even understand what leadership is. Who is to be blamed? Babajide said something. You might have 10 drivers, but you see just 5 cars. Then who is responsible for the not provision of the cars? And you see some of our public servants that are supposed to go for assignments, but they do not have even the cars to go. Let me tell you, if somebody is saying, if you people are saying that we don't need COVID-19, I understand that we don't need this number of workers. Do we need 306 senators, House of Reps members? Do we need 109 senators in the National Assembly? What are they actually even doing for us? So the truth about it is, I think our governor should think outside the box. If you're giving this position not to impoverish the people more, create an enabling environment. Let people come up. We can take some of these people to other sectors.
Thank you, Kesandu. Julie says something that, look, that the private sector, when they take this kind of decision, I work in an organization, and when it's time to take decision, they take that decision. It does not matter what the Nigerian journalists, to save the company. It doesn't matter what. And the same thing goes to every private concern. When you look at the books.
I think that is that fact is given. Okay, and that is why a lot of people, myself inclusive, have advocated that the philosophy that drives corporate Nigeria should be extended to running our government. because you see a lot of seriousness at that level. You see a lot of compliance. You see a lot of transparency. You don't get to find that in the public service, and that is what is missing. Okay.
Thank you for staying with us. Insecurity has not rung a bell of finality yet, with daring attacks recorded almost every day. In Damasak, Borno State, up to 100,000 residents are fleeing to neighboring Niger Republic seeking respite. This comes as insurgents group Boko Haram has attacked the local government headquarters for the 5th time in 2 weeks. When will the bell be rung? Babajide, 100,000 people running helter-skelter, seeking shelter in another country.
Yes. It's difficult to blame the people because we have simply failed them. We have shown ourselves incapable of protecting our people, so they will go to Niger Republic. Even in Katsina, there are some communities that people have fled to go and stay in Benin Republic. To stay in Niger Republic. So this is the situation that we have found ourselves. We can't have our people come under consistent attack from Boko Haram as we are having currently. In the last few weeks, Boko Haram has consistently attacked Marte and other places, including, of course, the Kwa. But Damasak was again attacked yesterday around 5 p.m. And in fact, they were strolling freely. I saw a video where they were strolling freely, meaning that they were in complete control of the area. If you watch the video, your blood will boil. That terrorists can take over an area. They were going into the hospital in the area. They looted the vans, the hospital vans, ambulances. They looted them. They looted consumables in the hospital, and then they left the area. And I also saw a picture of a soldier who was killed, maybe one of the people guiding the area. So it's been really, really tough on our people this past few weeks. And I think that there are enough Nigerians, especially from Borno State, hiding in, taking refuge in Niger Republic at this time. You look at residents of Abadam local government. Abadam local government has more than 100 communities. There's not one of them where our people are living as we speak. They fled to Niger Republic. The governor, whenever the governor is distributing palliatives in Borno State, he goes to Niger Republic to give palliatives meant for people of Abadam local government, to go and give them their own in another country. So if you say, how are the mighty falling, which was what the president said in 2015, it is appropriate to say that at this time. If people are still leaving our country to take refuge in another country, like Niger Republic, because the attacks, you saw the report that showed that Boko Haram, between January 1 and March 17, ISWAP, not the entire Boko Haram, ISWAP attacked Nigeria 212 times. Whereas during that period, Niger Republic was attacked 9 times. During that period, Chad was attacked just once. So you see that we are the epicenter of the whole Boko Haram insurgency. We are at the epicenter. Cameroon was not even listed among the states that were attacked. Just within, this thing is now almost entirely localized within Nigeria. And we are facing so much heat. I saw houses going up in flames, and I pity the governor of Borno State, because the more he goes to reconstruct, the other day when they took over this local government, the governor, that was the governor went there and promised that he was going to reconstruct those houses, including the 3 army bases that were overrun. He said he would rebuild them and all that. But how many times are you going to rebuild? You go, you rebuild, you build new hospitals, they go there, they set them ablaze. You come back again. I'm telling you, there are communities, even in the local government of the late Chief of Staff of the President.
Abakari.
Yes, Abakari, that have been rebuilt 2-3 times. That was the commercial nerve center of Borno State. It's been rebuilt 2-3 times.
Okay. Olabisi, we need assistance, we need help. Because it's like we are getting overwhelmed when we can't protect the lives and property of people in that area, that people are fleeing Nigeria to go to Chad, to go to Niger Republic. Now 100,000 in Damasak.
No, the problem, the challenge for me now is this. For how long are Nigerians going to get safety in Niger Republic? This has gone beyond being overwhelmed. I think this is a pure case of a situation where there is no help at all. It's an helpless situation. It has gone beyond being overwhelmed to becoming an helpless situation. Because as it is, it doesn't seem as if we have the capacity at all to confront the enemies within. According to the chairman of the local government of this area, Mobo local government area, MOBA, okay? The man said the insurgents were there for close to 6 hours. Operating without any form of check. No help at all. So
we have access to air power.
And you know, they even destroyed the police command. They went to the humanitarian body there, destroyed their location, destroyed their vehicle. They took away so many things. When things get to this level, we cannot be talking of being overwhelmed. All we can just talk about now is that we are helpless and definitely we need help. Whatever we've been doing has not worked. Whatever solution we thought we had has definitely not worked. And if we continue like this, we will continue to allow Nigerians to live in mystery. And this is not fair at all. It's not even starting today. As far back as 2016, over 200,000 people were said to take refuge even in this same Niger Republic. So for how long do Nigerians begin in that place? And remember that these people are in refugee camp. In these refugee camps, there is no water. There are so many facilities that are not available. Even the bodies that are just for safety. Even the people that are taking care of them are overwhelmed. So I don't really know why we are reluctant to seek external help at this point in time. Could there be something that we stand to lose if we ask for help from external bodies? Is there anything we stand to lose? What is the reason? Why the reluctance?
Prince is calling us from Ikorodu. Thank you for staying with us, Prince.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, Prince.
Good evening to Uncle Jide and my sister over there.
Good evening.
Please, I want to ask a question. I don't know. All this, the issue of this journalist hangout, the program has been going on, enlightening and educating Nigerians for years now. Does it mean that the information does not get to the power that be? If it has, all these talks that we have been giving and which are very sensible and enlightening enough, they seem not to have time for us. Because I thought when the president of Niger launched an attack with his troops on this Boko Haram, that was when Nigeria also supposed to have taken that move from this, and let us compress them and flush them out. But all the world is while we have been talking. I don't think this information gets up there. If it gets up there, it means they dropped in the trash. For now, we are saying we are giant of Africa. In what sense?
It's not as if it doesn't get to them.
They're overwhelmed.
It's not as if they don't that they don't watch us, or that the message doesn't get to them. The big people in government in our country, they watch this program. That one is a fact. So there are some people, I was telling people that the day I met the new chief of army staff, he was asking me that, is it that you've had some training in the army before? How come you know so much? So if he wasn't watching the program, would he have known? So it's not that people don't watch, but the fact that the problems are there. Look, the issue of equipment, the issue of inadequate manpower for the armed forces, they are problems that if we don't solve, we can't win the war. To win and to defeat an insurgency, you must outnumber the enemy. Significantly outnumber the enemy. In some cases, maybe ratio 8-1. Once you dominate the area, you bring people to hold the ground. The Air Force will play a very key part. Once they soften the ground, the surface troops move in, they dominate the area. It's not as if after capturing a place, because you don't have enough troops, you then move them to another area of need. The more you do that, the more they come back. So this is what is happening. This Timbuktu triangle that we always talk about, we have captured it repeatedly. But when we capture and we don't put troops there, they'll be back.
All right.
They'll be back.
Thank you for staying with us. There's limit to the extent of discomfort that a person can take without raising alarm or seeking help. Incessant killings and abduction in Nigeria are getting to unbearable level, and the youths are becoming restive. Angry youths blocked the Abuja-Kaduna expressway on Monday to protest over the incessant kidnapping in the area. They were angered by abduction of 12 people in Goraka town in Niger. Meanwhile, in Kaduna State, bandits killed the driver of Emir Beningwari Nasiru Sakin Zango when he was returning from a trip to Kaduna. They also burnt the car he was driving. But let's share the story with you.
The whole stretch of the Abuja-Kaduna expressway is on lockdown. People are angry, and it will be very difficult to calm the frayed nerves.
We did the Joshua, the money block everywhere. Now these 4 in-laws of soldiers we see the scene now. Carry all of us, go inside bush. So go follow them, find these people. Now we go like this, but as we reach, we never enter inside the bush finish. Now there's soldier, pack their motor. As you gather us, so they gather me. Like say I be small picking. They tell me okay, I tell them say, soldier, if you not fit go, Mona give youth the gun. May youth. Now there we day. Now there we day. Now we hear say police shoot one of us for here. How you want come be?
The government has continued to let them down. Their lives and property are now up for grabs as kidnappers, bandits and other criminals continue to ravage their communities.
May they help us. May they help us. Because if they not do it like that, see, if they not do it like that, this country will turn upside down.
They woke up to the news of another kidnap for ransom. This time, 15 people were taken from their homes in the early hours of Monday. This is the third incident in the area in less than 1 week.
A Nigerian citizen cannot be protected for lives and is being shot. It is an error. A country whereby we have rights to live in. You cannot just, it is an error. It is against the rules and regulations of this country. Those people are over there, they are not seeing our pain.
Another scene played out at the Madala area of the highway. In a clear case of jungle justice, an angry mob set ablaze 2 people they suspect to be kidnappers.
And those people, these boys, they said is one chance, that they are one chance. And even I was even holding the girl when they are eating her some things on her head. I even tried to hold her to hear from her. Actually, she don't even know what to say because I know she's one chance. This is this other one that they capture. They start beating him. I was even trying, when they slap him, look at my body. Look at my body, they splashed with blood. And I tried to even make things to be calm. Actually, those boys, they said no, this one they must prosecute her. That is why they burned the other lady, and this one too, they burned her.
Motorists traveling the long stretch of the Abuja-Kaduna road are at the receiving end. Everything is on standstill. This is one of Nigeria's most important highways that connects north to south and forms a critical part of the larger highway system, enabling the movement of people and goods from the north to the south and vice versa.
This blockade has lasted for more than 5 hours, and the youths around here say they are not opening the roads until those kidnapped are set free. For now, security agents appear to be helpless, and the youths are even suggesting that they are ready to take it upon themselves to go inside there and free all of those who are currently in captivity. Yes. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Garaka Junction, Suleja, Niger State.
That's cool. Breakdown of law and order, almost, a country that is bleeding seriously. I checked out the headline of a national daily today, and the newspaper said 126 people, 125 people killed across the country, died across the country yesterday. This is not a very good time as well.
Exactly, Ayo. This is a country in serious mourning. Forget that we wake up in the morning, we pray, and we thank God that we are alive. But there are so many people out there who are not sleeping. They find it very difficult to sleep, not because they don't have a shelter over their heads, but because even when they have shelter, they can't even sleep. Because in their homes right now, some people, right now, what kidnappers do, they come into your house and even kidnap you. Is as bad as that. And from what we have just seen,
the breakdown of law and order, it is a symptom of a failing state.
Yes, it is. What we have just seen is what the government should have done, which is to protect us. But people are now taking it upon themselves to become heartless. Because for a human being to declare jungle justice on another human being, it shows that the thing has gotten to this level. And we shouldn't be seeing, the international community, everybody should not be seeing Nigerians as being inhuman. Because this is just the height of it. Killing another human being, even when you are suspecting. The government needs to do something, because everywhere and every day you wake up, the first thing that comes to your mind, once you open it, once you switch on the radio station, the first thing you hear is some people have died, some people have been killed. If it's not in the north, it will be in the south.
It doesn't even make headline again.
It doesn't, because and very soon, there was a time Boko Haram, the killings concerning Boko Haram was like that. At some point, it just became a normal statistics. Oh, okay, 5 people have been killed by Boko Haram. Oh, 10 people have been killed. Very soon it will be like that.
Big deal.
It is no longer something that is even serious anymore. So government needs to sit down. I keep saying it. There is nothing stopping the government from declaring a state of emergency in security. Let's see what is wrong and then nip this crisis, because it's a major crisis, Ayo, an emergency that we will need to nip in the bud.
Shola, it is 740-something days to the end of this administration. But a lot of people are saying that, please, what will happen in the next 700 days? That, look, we can't afford to continue this way.
Well, we've seen it all. These are indices of, when you have a failing state, And we have a government that has to now sit up and think about the legacy it's going to leave behind. Are we going to have a government that allows the security of the nation to become an all-comers affairs? What we are seeing, yeah, it's so sad, it's disheartening, and you know, you want to wonder why we have to dish out death to people, whether guilty or not. They still should have been given their day in court. But then, it is also an evidence of the terrible anger that is in the minds of Nigerians about what is going on in their country. The state of insecurity, the sense of helplessness that has now made people to go on the streets and then see everybody as a potential criminal or even a criminal. People have been turned to prosecutors and judges on the streets of Nigeria because they are helpless. You know, this is just yesterday, there was this video going around about Ife-Ijesha Road where some people were just kidnapped. When people begin to have this kind of feeling, the beast in them will come out. And when you unleash the dragon in people, a lot of things can happen. Now, it is no longer the matter of ordinary people being kidnapped or being killed by kidnappers or bandits. You can see that it's getting right to the home of the powers that be. We're just talking about the driver of an emir. I mean, it's when you kill the driver of an emir, what does that mean? It means maybe by a stroke of luck, the emir survived. So when it gets to this level, you have to know that Asuko said something about having a state of emergency. We've been saying this for years about the need, for us to be able to restructure our security apparatus in this country. We have to have a very serious rethinking about the way we handle security. It is left for the government to know, do they want to leave behind a country in carcass or a country that is solid enough for the next administration to take over from? We need to really rise. Look, I read about one policeman talking about the people on the streets being miscreants. No, you can't describe people who are angry that their rights are being trampled upon as miscreants. When people get to the level of this kind of anger, they can do anything. But that is not to say that Nigerians, I beg our people, don't take the laws into your own hands. Like there's a Yoruba proverb that says, there are so many heads at the shrine of Ogun, but some of them, many of them are even innocent. Those you just kill, you may not know because you are not sure, you have not prosecuted them, you have not given them the right to defend themselves. You kill them, you have blood on your necks, on your hands. Let us be very wary. You know, this kind of thing is not something anybody will be happy about. But then, the buck stops on the table. Let's call a spade a spade. Our president must sit up. He either put up now or just find something else to do about our security. It's no longer a situation where we begin to tell story. We don't want any white paper fantasy. We need action. Let the president decide on a line of action that is going to augur well for our country and our security situation. That's my point for
now. Asuko, this Abuja-Kaduna Express Road, we've been talking about it the last 2 years. It's a very dangerous spot. It's even preferable to take the train from Abuja down to Kaduna.
Yeah, exactly, Ayo, because I remember there was a time we were coming from Jos, you know, so I think last year also.
January last year.
Yes, January last year, and then they were even telling us, thank God you did not pass through Biringwari area and things like that. We are saying why? They said that route is where they are. That is the main place that they have kidnappers, they have bandits, they have everything. And since then till today, it is still the same. No solution. We are still hearing that they are still kidnapping. And now look at the emir's driver was killed. Now bandits, we've been hearing about bandits, and somebody will be deodorizing criminality and giving bandits one funny name and saying that they are not criminals. We shouldn't be going to that level. the Abuja-Kaduna expressway has been a no-go area for a very long time. And it seems that nothing has been done, and then they've just abandoned that particular route, particularly that Biringwari Road.
We need to go back to the drawing board. We need to look at our recruitment level. We need to see how we're going to, map up the nation and know the immediate needs of every community in Nigeria and see how we can get these communities policed. And it also comes to the question of having state police. There is no other hiding place now for whoever is in charge of the constitution. It is the time for us to allow the states police themselves.
Thank you for joining us. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Go ahead with your contribution, please.
Thank you, my brother. I don't want us to keep recycling the same kind of issue. You remember one previous time, Senator Dino once talked about this thing, that look, this thing is getting out of hand. If the Nigerian government wants an assistance from elsewhere, we should get it. And unfortunately, the same senator that actually dished out Senator Dino, then Adeyemi, if you recall last time, he was talking on air and as if he wants to cry. Look, the thing that is happening in Nigeria needs assistance, and if the president wants assistance, even if it's from Chad.
Senator Smart Adeyemi.
Smart Adeyemi. Thank you
Smart
so much,
Adeyemi.
God bless you.
From the same constituency with Senator Dino Melayi.
Yes, exactly. The Smart almost cried when he was saying it. In fact, he cried. He cried.
He was wiping his tears.
He cried. Yeah. Because he himself knows that he can't even from Abuja, he can't go to his, into his own constituency.
I spoke with a friend and he told me he couldn't even remember the last time he traveled home. And if you have these people in power, members of the National Assembly, and they are telling you they can't go to their homes, they have to get holed up in Abuja, then it means they know what. Yes,
you are meant to go
you
back
can't
regularly.
go and reach your people.
Thank you for staying with us. A fall while riding a horse is an opportunity to master the earth better rather than discouragement. After the military aircraft crash of the 21st of May in Kaduna, the Nigerian Air Force insists its pilots are more than qualified for flying. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Isiaka Amao, however, promised that the Air Force will sustain training for pilots and technical units to avert such clashes. In an exclusive interview with Babajide Otitoju in Abuja, Air Marshal Amao also said Nigeria is on course to receive the much-awaited Super Tucano bombers in July. Let's share the interview with you.
Good evening, it's painful to lose properly trained pilots who was trained in the UK, trained in the UAE, and other places.
The Air Force will do with pilots training. In fact, we take it very seriously. And if you ask any of our pilots, most of them have done one training or the other. Most of them are even doing their local training. They have gone abroad for maybe instructor's course or even advanced training on the aircraft. Likewise, the technicians and maintenance crew, we do not joke with that. Like the new aircraft are supposed to induct now, like the GF-17, the one with, they were trained abroad. They are trained in the country before coming in. The pilots trained there. The maintenance, some of the maintenance crew are still there, training now. The Super Tucano we have the pilots are still there, training. And the maintenance crew are there also training. So we don't take, we take training very seriously in the Air Force because we know we don't have parking space in the air. So, and for you to fly our machine and fly them safely, you must be qualified. So that is why there's no doubt about that.
Former Alpha Jet instructor before he became the chief of air staff. The time that the joy that you feel once you climb into the air, you start away from that.
The sky is always very interesting. Of course, once you're in the machine, you are in a different world, and a different world of your own. See, the problem we pilots have is that we are enjoying the flying, while people are that we have been flying. There was a time we had a formation flight. We needed to carry out a ceremony that we organized for one of our. So my wife was had to attend the ceremony, and I was in the formation of. I was flying. I was an instructor on the LB2 that time. I was flying as one of the formation members. My wife was, she could not stay there. She was shouting to everybody, come down now, come down. Yes, all form of formation, movement, maneuver.
Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Isiaka Amao is almost settling down in the office, but the bottom line is that I think they are resolute.
Yes, the Air Force is determined to not be despondent over this matter, but to simply carry out their work. We've lost one of our Alpha jets, and I could say we've lost 2 pilots, because what the Air Force will do is wait for like 6 months. If there is no information, maybe at that point they could then tell the family that, look, we think this person is gone. We saw the remains of a pilot at the scene, but one of the other pilot who must have ejected from the aircraft. It's not the first time that this will happen. We lost a pilot some years back. That's Brimo, the son of the former DG of NYC. Was a pilot. The plane came down in enemy territory, Boko Haram territory. We've eventually located the aircraft, his aircraft, Brimo's aircraft, but no one has seen the pilot since that incident. So people who join the military know that these things can happen. But as the Chief of Air Staff emphasized, they will not be discouraged. They will continue to improve capacity of the pilots. They will continue to improve capacity of the maintenance men, so that the aircraft or the fleet of the Air Force would be top-notch at any point. You know, the motto of this Air Force, as I know them, is no must go mission. You know what that means? That there's no mission that you must go by all means. Which means if the aircraft is not in perfect condition, you can't fly.
The weather.
If the weather is too bad, you can't fly. And I'm saying that I have traveled in the past with Air Force generals. We were going to Makurdi along with people like AVM Idris. Because AVM Idris had worked in that place for years. We were going there and we were told that the weather was bad. We stopped in Makurdi. They were all generals. Allah, you remember the Nigerian war hero who died during the Civil War, you know, in his aircraft. There was an air crash. Allah was the Nigerian war hero. His son rose to become a general in the current Air Force and was head of admin. He was on that flight. We were going to Makurdi, all of us. But the weather was bad. We stopped in Abuja. If a pilot landed, it must have been because he felt that he could pull it through, not because he was scared of generals. No. After all, even on the presidential fleet and the rest of them, it's still these capable, experienced young pilots that are flying. And I mentioned something a few days back, that even the girl that died, Arotile had already, the former Chief of Air Staff, had already taken the decision to transfer her to the presidential fleet because of her competence. That decision had been made. I can say that. So Arotile was less than 30 years.
Okay.
So if someone now said that, oh, she's not qualified, the number of hours you fly is what determines your qualification as a pilot and your competence. There are air commodores who have not flown up to half of what the late Ashani, because Ashani had flown 2,450 hours. There are air commodores who have not flown up to that. So, and that's what determines how competent you are. That's how you are judged, the number of flying hours, not your rank
Talking about our
or
fleets
age.
now, Muji, talking about our fleets now, what we have, because the advantage we have over this ISWAP and Boko Haram, the bandits guys, these bandits, is the air power that they don't have. And I think we should fortify the number of airplanes in our fleet.
Yes, you know,
fighter jets
are not just things to pick up on the shelf. You have to pre-order, like we have seen with the
Super Tucano.
the Super Tucanos, which is generating a lot of enthusiasm. That's why it could be painful each time a bird goes down in our fleet, especially the fighter jets. Each time one of the planes come down, because we don't really have many. So losing one, and the cost of even training the human resources that mans them, the pilots. So they are not conventional jets. They are not conventional planes. They are specially made for some special and specific purposes. So it costs a lot of money, and like the Super Tucanos, they are actually built to specifications given the manufacturers in Florida by the Nigerian Air Force to be able to fight in the Boko Haram terrain, to fight insurgency, to fight terrorism. So that's why they have to configure some things and take into consideration the terrain which they are bringing it to build all those things to it. So that's why it's painful that anytime we lose any of these jets, it takes a lot of time for us to be able to replace them. You might have the money, but it's not done something you pick. And you know how long it takes to train these pilots. And imagine the man hours that have been flown by Ashanike, 2,450. You can't achieve that in a day. You are talking of you imagine somebody who has been flying every day for like 100 days.
He was already a captain by 2019.
Yeah. So with 2,450, you imagine somebody who sits in a plane every day for 100 days. That's what it will take you to achieve that kind of flying hours.